Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another phenomenal, amazing knowledge bomb dropping show on today. I'm your host, Cedric Francis, and welcome to Lead to Greatness, where we believe in helping others reach their greatest potential. And together we can change the world. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button and comment and let us know how you feel about the show. Today on Lead to Greatness, we have Darin Dawson. Darin is the co-founder and president of BombBomb, a human-centered communication platform that enables users to use simple, personal video messages to leverage their best asset, themselves. He is on a huge mission to rehumanize the planet, and he wants to start with your business communication. Please help me welcome Darin with Rehumanizing Your Business. Cedric Francis, and you're listening to Lead to Greatness.
My name's Darin Dawson. I'm the president and co-founder of a company called BombBomb. We make it easy to create videos, send messages so you can be face-to-face with more people more often. Back in 2006, me and my buddy Connor, we were working in sales and marketing. And, the part of the story I think people might find interesting is that we had a thing that we wanted to do. My buddy Connor had gone to Africa, and we made some great friends over there, and they're doing some crazy stuff, helping people out, orphans. They're building an orphanage. They're building these micro businesses. And Connor was like, I just want to go live over there. And so we were always looking for a business that could support this mission that we had in our lives. So BombBomb actually became that. So we were always looking like, what could be something that was cool that could sustain us to do the things that we wanted to do in our community and stuff.
Right.
And so Connor's like, well, man, if we do this idea, I think I could probably, make like $5,000 a month and go live in Africa. Well, it ended up being way more than that. And so BombBomb was created out of this need for us. We thought we'd be better in person, but we had more clients than we had time. So we needed to scale ourselves. If we knew if we were face-to-face, we could use our abilities as salespeople to create more revenue for our company and for ourselves. And so we cobbled together this concept of this video, and we sent it out to the customers, but everybody was like, how did you do that? We want to be able to do that. And we're like, whoa, wait a minute, this is kind of cool. Maybe we should do this as a business. It was as simple as that, Cedric. And this was in 2006. I mean, this is early. There's a big movement now for entrepreneurism, for startup culture, and all. And it wasn't necessarily as like that then. And so we were like, we should. So we cobbled together some cash. We didn't know anything about building software at all. We were sales and marketing guys.
Wow.
Fortunately, we met another person who was really super smart about building software. He started to build a dev team for us. And then we started building software, and we started to create that product. We thought we knew what the problem was that we solved, right? That we helped these people that needed to be face-to-face more often, just like us, salespeople. But we were struggling with a really good go-to-market, like a place where we could really get a lot of customers. And by accident, a guy did a blog post about us, about how awesome our technology was for real estate professionals. That guy was Steve Passanelli, who's now our CMO.
Wow.
This is back in like 2011. So there's some years past that I didn't quit my day job until 2011. So I finally quit my day job. We had enough customers I could quit. And then that really launched us into real estate, mortgage, title. And that's how we grew the business. So we found that beachhead. I think it's important when you're starting out to identify an addressable market that's big enough that you can attack and sell into, sustain it, and grow the business. It also helped us grow cash because we were selling it up front. We're selling the year up front, and it gave us the cash we needed to hire people and start to grow. So yeah, we hit 20 million back in 2020, and now we're cruising well north of that. So, and now we've grown up market too. So we established that we have about 60,000 realtors worldwide in about 38 countries, but now we moved up market. So we're working with bigger companies now. Some of the companies are like, buying 1,000 seats at a time and stuff like that. So
wow,
it's kind of crazy, but it was all born out of this idea that I kind of want to go live in Africa. Well, then we figured out, well, maybe this could do a lot more if he just stayed here, right? Like we could really help some people, but he didn't have to go live in Africa. Like this was going to be bigger than that.
Wow, that is amazing. So you mentioned the time before the business took off. I have two questions. The first question is how long was that process? And the second question followed by that is when did you know and was comfortable that it's time to go full time?
Yep. So Connor quit his job immediately, which I wouldn't recommend that necessarily. But he hustled, man. He did a lot of different stuff. I had a job, was making good money. I just had our first son.
Wow.
And so my wife was not yet comfortable with me. I would have quit probably if it weren't for her. But I think there's two pieces of advice I given that with the question you just asked. One, I really feel like you gotta live below your means. The only way that we were able to achieve this, he and I were just laughing about this yesterday. Okay. Like, he drove a Honda Civic, I mean, forever, to the point where I was like, hey, dude, this is a liability for me. You got to get a different car. This thing, you're going to die in this thing. Like, and I drove a Toyota Camry, for an example, but we lived, I mean, like on half of our income. We were able to, okay, even then. And I think a lot of people don't do that. Like you got to be able to like survive the startup. And sometimes you just run out of cash. And if that's because you personally need cash to maintain your level of living, then I see that more often than not. It's the thing that kills it, right? And if you're married, you got to be together in that. It's got to be both of y'all in it, or it won't work. And we were lucky enough. I had my wife, she was all in, right? And I was lucky she had a job. Connor wasn't married yet. I think that's really critically important too. And then I really believe this, I kind of just alluded to this, have a reason you're doing that thing more than money. The reason you're doing this, I mean, if you can do that and be successful, it needs to be like for more than money. And for us, there was a goal in mind, and this was going to help us facilitate that. So not everybody can do that. I get that. But if you can, and I think in goal setting, even if you're going to make your startup go, it's like, if I do this, what's going to happen because I do it? Like that greater goal, because money just doesn't get it. Right. I don't think.
So let's give an example to the audience. So you say don't do it because of money. So what was your why?
We wanted to rehumanize the planet. And I know that sounds crazy, but have a crazy goal. We got there later, but look, we saw and we still see people being dehumanized. And we wanted to build a business that allowed us to help that problem. We wanted to make a dent in the universe. We wanted to be a big dent. So yeah, we need money to do that. But that wasn't why we started BombBomb. Like I said, we started it so Connor could go live in Africa because we could support these widows and orphans who he'd met who were dying. He kind of came back. He's like, man, I can't see this and like live with this on my watch. Right. Like, yeah, totally. And then I met Richard too. It's this amazing guy and his wife. They came over here. We hung out all the time and we got to know them, and they're dear friends of ours now. And so that was our why, man. Like, and not everybody has that, but I think we're all here for a purpose, and we need to figure out what that is and maybe match that to your business purpose. Right. So, because I get to tell 160 people at BombBomb every day, like the reason you're here is because we're trying to rehumanize the planet. And then we show them what we mean when we say that. Now, it doesn't mean you can't buy the car. It doesn't mean you can't buy the house you want. I just think there's a balance to that. And I think so many times we put these social impact goals on the periphery when they might be the reason, right? So, and it was for us. So I get that it might not be for everybody to do that, but man, if it can be, I think it's a huge accelerator for you. Helps you retain people, helps you get people. Look, that whole thing I just gave you, a lot of people joined us early when they probably shouldn't have.
Wow.
Because they want to be a part of something like that.
Yes. You said something, and I just want to recap for the note takers. You said live below your means. That's very important. And you said something that I think is really key because you talked about you and the co-founder. And when you guys first started, you guys had the same mindset. I mean, it's not like one was about this and the other was about. I mean, you guys were synchronized and working together, the same mindset before. So for anybody that's thinking about going into business, joint venture with anyone, always just really just keep that in mind and make sure you guys has similar goals. What are some lessons you learned over the past decade building this team and company?
Yep. You have to have a reason. We talked about that mission, right? I think a reason more than making money. But then core values for me are right after that. And so core values are something people can tie to. And for us, relationships is number one, humility is number two, then service, flexibility, and fun. Those are the 5 core values that we implemented right in the beginning. That's what we used to talk about people all the time. This is who we want to be, and this is who you get to be if you come work here. I think that's a big deal. People want that. People desire that. And then we implemented process. So we've been doing something called Rockefeller Habits. It's from a book called Scaling Up by a guy named Bern Harnish. It's great stuff. Helps you to think about processes to fundamentally start your business. And if you are in that startup mode and you are bivocational, I'd really encourage you to read that book. It's like a textbook, but again, it's Scaling Up by Bern Harnish. And it really helps you to think about how to run a meeting, how to run like your teams. We've been doing that now for 10 years. So, and I really look back at that as a really fundamental way for us, even in the very early days when we had 5 people. I'll give you an example, 5 people in the company. We do a morning stand-up every morning at 8:15, and we all talk about what our priorities were for the day, what we're going to accomplish. And there's something in the holding each other accountable to those things, including myself, when you do that. And I'll tell you, we still do it. So every day now I got 160 folks. I got a bunch of teams. They all have their own stand-ups. It rolls up to our stand-up in the morning. So that type of eyes on the business, the way they talk about it was huge. And then we also, I'll give you one more. We implemented the 5 dysfunctions of a team. So these things are critical to thinking about why things go wrong. So the team members are your most important asset, right? But how do you know to get the right ones? Well, in my opinion, you hire and you fire by those core values that you create. Because those core values are, you get the right people on your team because they believe in the mission you're trying to accomplish, and they believe in the core values of the business. So then these 5 dysfunctions creep in, and every team has them to some extent. Right. I got them there. The first one is absence of trust, fear of conflict, lack of commitment, avoidance of accountability, and inattention to result. If you have those in your business, you're not going to win. And so the idea here is to get them to mitigate those and to build trust, build accountability, and eventually get results. So we did that early too. And I mean, the folks that are on our team, it's crazy. I mean, some of them 7 years, which is nuts in a SaaS company.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. So those are the things I think helped us with that.
Wow, that is awesome. That's amazing. So we talked about, from a business perspective, we talked about building the business. We talked about having the right team. So you have the business, you have the team, and now I want to talk customers. So I want to switch over to the other side, because at the end of the day, if the customer is not happy, your business is dying. So for example, let's say, let's do, in your view, what is customer experience and why does it matter?
This is a big deal because, in my opinion, this is every point that the customer interacts with you in the business. So it's your people, it can be your website, it can be your podcast, anything that you put out there that the customer interacts with develops the overall customer experience, right? And I think it's really important because I really believe that anymore today, it's what makes you unique. It is your unique selling proposition. Okay. Now let's take software companies like mine, for example. Look, let's say, Cedric, you have another software company like mine, but you might have a couple features that I don't have. I might have a couple features that you don't have, but all it takes really is time and maybe money, but time to build the features you have for you to build the features that I have.
Right.
So what makes us really different? It's how we go to market. It's the customer experience that we provide. And that's why I'm so high on video, because I think it really helps the customer experience. It lets you see my people. And I believe in my people. I think if you meet my people, you're going to buy BombBomb, because I love these people, especially if you're looking at the competitor. I'm like, man, they're cool. They're going to take care of me. You get to choose based on the experience we provide. And you think, man, if they're like this here, they're going to be great to work with down the road. Because the whole goal in business, folks, is lifetime value of the customer. It isn't about the acquisition of the customer. It's about keeping them for a long time.
Wow.
That's when you make all the money back, right?
Yeah.
So you want to put on a good impression. You want to put out the best china.
Yeah.
You want to feel like you're coming to my home and you're welcome here. That's
Yeah.
how it should feel. And I think only people can create feel. And that's video, right? Like we're meeting it so I can see you.
Yes.
There's something different that happens when humans see each other. We create empathy for one another. There's emotion involved. It's not emotional, but there's emotion.
Yes.
I just don't think you get that. I'm sorry, from email, from a black text on a white screen.
Yeah.
It does not feel the same. I don't know who would say it does.
Because most people, we send in emails and we're doing, all type, have the marketing strategy written down. And I've heard you say a few times, you send video. Why should we use video to connect and communicate with our customers daily?
Because human beings have intrinsic value. And there's something that happens when two human beings see each other's faces. I see your face, my brain goes, that's a real person.
Yes.
Right? I'm identifying you. You're nonverbal, the way you smile. All these things go into play, like bang, bang, bang. Think about it. Like we've only had some of this other stuff a few years, like artificial, AI and these things really in the last 5 years. You could say email in the last 35 years, but we've been communicating like this face to face forever. It's been like this. And so we use our hands. We're emotive, not emoticon. We're emotive. Humans are, all those emoticons are based on human expression. Hey, I got a crazy idea. Why don't we just use the real human expressions? Let's just do that. Like, so that's why I think video has this power that is unique. It's not new. It's old. It's old. It's as old as we are. It's eternal. And so, my goal is to make it like picking up the telephone in business, like sending an email in business, because I think it's older than that. We just need to bring it back. I'm not introducing a new thing. I'm asking you to bring something back that you were using that we kind of got rid of because we have technology. I want to combine those things and like supercharge it.
Wow, that is awesome. So when you're saying videos, give me certain areas that videos would be used and why it's important. So we talked about the customer. What's some other use?
I'll go employees. How about that? Let's talk about if you got some folks working with you, maybe you're remote like me. And, we've probably hired 50 people or something. I don't know, during COVID.
Wow.
And I would used to go and introduce myself and I'd shake their hand. How you doing? I'm glad you're here. Now I'll send a video. I say, hey, Cedric, welcome to Bomb Bomb. Hey, I'm Darin. I'm the co-founder. Just want to introduce myself, put a face with a name. I'm glad you're here. We can't do it without you. What you're doing is important. And I might talk to them about what I'm trying to do, trying to rehumanize the planet. You're a part of that.
Wow.
Welcome, right? Like that's different than if I sent that in an email. Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I'm different. You meet me, you're like, oh, I like that guy, or I don't like that guy, whatever. But it's different than your own interpretation of an email that you send. I think another cool way to do this is congratulate people. We just had a guy been with us 10 years. I sent him a video. I'm like, Patrick, dude, you shouldn't have taken that job 10 years ago. We were not ready for you. I'm so glad you did. Right. And so I get to do that in a way with COVID in a place where you can't be together. He can still hear me and feel me. And I can hear and feel him. I think that's a big deal. But with your customers, it's the same thing. So in the sales process, if you introduce yourself and provide value, we have a saying in our marketing department, be of value and abundance will follow. Be of value and abundance will follow. So listen, you can be of value to that customer. You can introduce yourself. Hi, I'm Darin from Bomb Bomb. Just want to introduce myself. Hey, I saw that you guys are doing this, this, and this. That's awesome. So good. And then talk about the value that you've been bringing to other customers like them. But you do that as a sales rep. You have abilities that you got hired for that get handcuffed, I think, behind the technology. So I just want to expose those. I think another way is proposal review. If I sent you a proposal, maybe I'd go over it with you. And I talk to you about the things I really want to make sure you understand. You can deliver that in a way that's unique because you're unique. And then that can be shared easily to the other people in the organization. So again, I love that you brought up customer experience because I think that's what it's all about. Your people are what makes you unique, not your features, not your price, none of those things. That's not what we should be competing on. We should be competing on customer experience, service, and the things that we can provide for them, and why we want to have a lifetime or an elongated relationship with that potential client.
This is really amazing, and it's really thought provoking because, I mean, with technology, it is so, especially for our introverts. I mean, our
Yeah,
introverts, I mean, this is like introvert heaven. But now we're living in a society where you have more depression. The suicide rate is outrageous. You and I, right now, I mean, yeah, we are in two. I'm in the South, you in the North. I mean, and we're having a conversation. We're interacting with each other almost as if we
totally.
were in the same building.
Which
You
I would
know,
love to. Wouldn't it be great? I wish we could. I wish I could come to Houston and meet the studio. But I think that's the thing about this is like humans connect. Look, you're
yes.
so right. We have connections,
Mhm.
okay, with social media. We have connections through email, but we are not connected.
Yeah.
We are not. We're in like a desperation mode, I
Yeah.
think, of actual, true, authentic human connection.
Yeah.
I think we're in a drought, and I think it's being driven by a lot of this. I call it digital pollution. When we get off the call here and I go back to my inbox,
Yeah.
I'll have just a mountain of stuff, right? And do you ever anymore, Cedric, think? Do you even like? It just gets so easy to delete it, but because you don't even think it's a real person anymore. Even if it says a person's name, you kind of think that's not real. That's not. It's not a real person. It might be a real person, but they didn't send it.
Yeah.
They've used some sort of technology. It's like every phone call I get, if your name doesn't show up on the phone, I don't answer it because
Oh.
it's usually just an extended warranty for my car or something. I just think we're overdoing it a bit, and I really want to help people send less, but be of more value and be more about personal, not
Yeah.
personalized. It's just
Yeah.
different. Personal and connected is a big deal, and I think it's how business ultimately we work with people we know, like, and trust. I still believe that that's true, and so I'm trying to figure that out and help people figure that out more.
Wow. And that's awesome. I'm really thinking about this. All these social media outlets and Facebook, for example. I literally go on Facebook and I'm talking people that I know personally. I mean, they will go on Facebook. They say things
I know
that
where you're
they
going.
would never say
I know
to
where
an
you're going.
individual. I mean, I've literally on Facebook, I've seen some of the nice people that's just, I mean, they real docile, and I mean, they really cautious about how they talk to people. Well, boy, you get them on social media. I mean, they're ripping off, with the things they're typing. A person that's normally emotional and care how somebody feel, when they're typing on Facebook,
Yeah.
they can care less of what they're saying to the individual, and that's horrible, man.
Oh man, plus one. I've been involved in that a couple of times. I've seen that happen. I'll tell you, you want to diffuse it, put a video on that thread. Swear
Wow.
to you, like, be like, "Hi, hey, I'm so sorry that you feel that way." Because I can lower your empathy, man. Like, you cannot have empathy if you don't see a human. Like,
Oh my goodness.
so throw a video in the middle of that thread. What do you think would happen? Hey guys, hey man, hey honey, like, I appreciate you. You're a friend of mine. Like, that would go
It
done.
would kill. Oh my goodness, man. That is huge. That is
Because people
huge.
matter, like, because what you're like, oh, because you never want. You're right, man. Like, most people don't. Most people do care about other people. We get in these modes, and then we interpret it potentially incorrectly as well. Because when we read it, we put our own emotion on it, like, oh, they're amped up, or
Yeah.
I'm amped up. I'm amped up too.
Yeah.
So you lose the ability that we've been given as human beings to communicate. And I think the world could use with a heck of a lot more empathy for one another than what we're being sometimes often baited into. And sometimes we're the ones doing it, right?
Yes.
I don't know, man. Like, yeah, you're hitting on some trigger points for me. Like,
It's
social media for me, my wife's a high school counselor. She does it because she loves it, which is tough, but she deals with this stuff with these
yeah.
kids, man. Like, it's tough. It's
And it's
so tough.
hurting them. It's hurting
Oh,
them.
it's hurting them
It's
bad,
hurting
bad, bad. And they're dealing with stuff they shouldn't deal with. They can never escape it, and
them.
you hit on that for me. So thanks for bringing it up.
And I want you to speak to this too, because this actually happened. It was a guy. He sent the email. He just happened to have the all caps on. And the person he
Right.
sent the email
Just by
to,
accident.
yes, the person he sent the email to complained to his manager, and he was called into the office for having all caps. And the guy said he screamed at me
He's
on the
yelling at
email.
me. He's yelling at me. I can't handle it. He can't talk to me that way. Well, what? He wasn't talking to you.
Right.
It's so right, man. So this is exactly what we're trying to solve for. I just think it's a problem. I think we can do better. That's what I'm emphatic about. This should be a part of your communication strategy internally and externally. Like, I don't care if you do it with me, just do it with somebody.
Right.
Because would you agree that you're better face to face than you are over a text, email, or a text, or in Messenger and Facebook, or in LinkedIn? Do you think you're better face to face? Now, if you are, just think about using video. Now, if you're introverted, I get that too. And one of the things we deal with is people are afraid of how it needs to look. They think that it needs to be polished. Man, I can really relate to that fear, but I will tell you, I personally sent some like 7,000 videos, but it took me time to get used to that. I got a face for radio, man. I should be behind the mic, not in front of the camera.
Right.
But people want to have human connection. So I can tell you, if you can get over that hump, send some videos to people that care about you. They'll love to see from you. One of the best things I give as an advice to starting video is send gratitude. Just say thank you. Thank you to a customer. Happy birthday. Thank you for dropping by the other day. Thank you. Gratitude videos are easy to send. You get an endorphin rush when you say it, and they get one when they receive it. It changes the dynamic, and it helps you get over the fear of doing video.
Oh, Darin, that is a knowledge bomb. I'm thinking about, because I mean, now my mind is racing to all the videos.
You know, we call it human-centered communication. And it's not just about video. It's really, moreover, and I think you'll get this when I say it, it's about the recipient experience. Okay. And that comes to that customer experience again. So video is a core component of what we call human-centered communication. But other components are the value in how your message is received and how the recipient receives it is more important maybe than the goal of the communication. Because right now we have such a goal in the communication, maybe so we're sending like 1,000 emails, but are we caring about how that message is received and how you feel on the other side of that? Or is it just another message, just like everybody else? So we spend a ton of time talking about what we call the recipient experience. And that's why we do things like transcriptions. We have an ability for you to like the video or heart the video and some of those things, and how much of the video was watched, what engagement level did you have with the video you sent. So it's more about giving that person so you can improve on the recipient experience. It's more about other people. And that's what we should think about, right? We should think about more about other people than we should about ourselves. And I think that's crazy in the culture we live in right now. I might have said something crazy for your listeners, but again, if you want to build a successful business, care about other people more than yourselves.
That is a knowledge bomb. Wow.
It's good.
What are some leadership growth tips, tools, advice that you can share with the Lead to Greatness community to help us reach our greatest potential?
Yep. I 100% believe that leaders are readers, right? I spend at least 15 minutes a day reading. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it builds up fast. You can really, if you just dedicate 15 minutes a day, you can really cruise through books. But sometimes I think you need to read slower than faster too. Don't try and, choose those things too. So I'm also a habit builder. I'm a big, Darren Hardy fan. He has a book talking about how you build incremental habits. And I've been doing that for about, 15 years. I get up every day at the same time. I work out. For me, I spend some time. I'm a Christian. I read, and I'm in scripture in the morning, and then I'll read, spend some time praying for my family. I get to take my kids to school right now. That's one of the blessings of COVID that I got. I was on the road like 100,000 miles a year before. Now I get to take my kids to school, which is huge, right? Like, but then I get back and I'm reading, and I get all that done by 8:30, just so you know. So I work out, all that stuff, and I read for my job every morning. So I get all that done by 8:30. So it's possible. And then I'm prepped. And at 8:35, I have my stand up with my team, with my executive team every day. So by the time that I get there, I'm ready to give them my best. And I believe really the best tip I can give you is, I think I saw this in your stuff, Cedric, be a servant leader. Your job is to make them win, to know what their goals are, to know how they measure success and to help them achieve that. If they see you as being that person that just wants you to succeed, I say, in our team, like, look, I get that you might not be a bomb forever. My goal though is for you to be better when you leave than when you got here. That's not true. We're not doing our job. So, but I need to know how you're going to win and what your goals are. If I know that, and that's why I tell my leaders that this is our number one job, is help people win. And most of the time, that has nothing to do with work.
Yes.
Nothing. Yes. Absolutely nothing. Yes. Or money. And when that's not the answer they give, when you're saying, what's your goal? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to accomplish? So knowing those things, having the conversations, having conflict, but resolving it, getting results, building trust. That's what it's about.
That is a knowledge bomb.
Bomb.
Zig Ziglar said a quote that goes along with this. He said, if you help enough people get what they want, you will get what you want.
Yep. He said it better than I did, for sure. That is exactly what I'm trying to get at.
Because you had this vision over a decade ago. Yeah. What does it feel like to have that vision and now to live it?
Sometimes I look back and I miss the days of that a little bit. I'm fortunate. I got this amazing team. They do so much. And now I get to sit back and kind of reflect and think about the future. I stare out my window a lot here, look at the mountain. But it's pretty great, man. There's some things that have happened along the way that I just can't believe happened. Pinch myself. I came from humble beginnings. I grew up on a farm. Wow. Like, I didn't go to college. Wow. I shouldn't be here. Right. Like, but I am. And so I just feel fortunate and blessed. And I try and make an impact because of that. I feel like I know that. And so we do a lot with the community because I just feel like that's what we're supposed to be doing. And it all goes back to that calling that we got. And we're just trying to live that out. So I don't know. I pinch myself. Thank God every day. Thank you for this life. Amazing. Thank you for this house. Thank you for I still live in the same house, by the way. I still live below my means. Wow. Still live in the same house that awesome. I did back then.
Wow, that is amazing.
Yeah.
That is man, that is amazing. I want you to do one thing. I want you to speak to that individual that's just getting started, that all they have is a vision, but that's it.
Yeah. So that's a great question. And I've spent a lot of time, I get asked that a lot. And it's, again, those two things. Like, first of all, don't quit. Like, if you got an idea, don't quit, but you got to ask yourself a hard question. Maybe, what problem are you solving and for who? Okay. Look, what entrepreneurs do is solve problems. They see things differently and they have an idea. Okay. So how many people are we solving a problem for? And that's what's called an addressable market. Just fundamentally really basic here. I have a problem, I can solve it, but for how many people? And then will they buy it? And can I synthesize it in a way that they'll buy it and want to buy it and keep buying it? So I've had lots of ideas. Most of them didn't work. Right. And I solved a lot of problems. Some did well and some others didn't. This one has. So I would just encourage you to think about that. So all ideas are great, but not all ideas succeed. And so again, am I solving a problem? Who am I solving it for? And how many people are like that have that problem? What's the competition for solving the problem? That's the least of my worries, frankly, the competition, because again, people will buy from people they know, like, and trust. And so if you're solving a problem, there's a big enough market to solve for, you're going to be okay. But if you haven't answered those two questions, don't quit your job.
Wow, Darin, that is amazing, man. Thank you so much. You're really, really definitely, I know the Lead to Greatness community definitely going to be better after listening to this podcast. I know everyone is taking notes and ready, inspired, and ready to move forward. So, Darin, I want you to tell us about your book.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So I didn't write it, but Steve Passanelli and Ethan Butte. Ethan's our chief evangelist. Steve's our CMO. They wrote it together. Okay. It's called Rehumanize Your Business. And we put it out in 2019. We're about to have another book come out. We're still working on that, but the title but it'll be out probably around November. Okay. But the whole idea is to give you fundamental tactical principles to implement the things that we've been talking about. So if you're remotely Like, I'm curious about that. That guy, I don't know about, though, if I could actually put it to work. The book was written with simple tactics and stories about how you can put those things to work. Wow. The things about gratitude and empathy are all part of that book. So it's just a really easy way to implement. So it's Rehumanize Your Business. You can find it anywhere books are sold. Amazon's an easy place to get it. We got to be one of the funnest things, again, getting back to like getting people to win. These guys, I've worked with Ethan for 20 years, 10 at Bomb Bomb, and like 10 before that at a TV station together. Just one of my best friends. He's a great guy, and he's the smartest guy I've ever known. And then Steve, our CMO, again, he's the guy that wrote the blog post about us back when we had no customers. Amazing. And believed in us early on. So just to have those guys on the team, and then they write this book. They got to go to New York City. We had a big book display on Fifth Avenue. Wow. I mean, that's it, man. Like, I could have died right there. My business life was good. Like, what our thing, like the thing that we think about is on Fifth Avenue in New York. Like that was, I could have just quit right there. So I just love that happened. And, I let them go. I didn't go. Connor and I didn't go. No, that's you guys. This is your deal. So they sent us pictures from Fifth Avenue and stuff. It was pretty spectacular. So Rehumanize Your Business. You can get that book. I'd highly recommend it. It's an easy read.
If someone wanted to connect with you and what you're doing, where should they go?
Yeah, bombbomb.com. Super easy. bomb.com. If they want to learn more about that. But then I'm easy to find on LinkedIn. My only ask, I always say this, just send me a message, like a real one. It doesn't have to be a video. Just don't send me an automated message. Don't hear this podcast, Cedric, be like, and just add me to the loop. I get enough of that. Be like, hey, I saw in the podcast. It was great. I liked what you said about that. Like, just make it personal. That's my only ask. It's personal. Awesome. And you will get a response.
On behalf of the Lead to Greatness community, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule and adding value to us.
Awesome, man. It was so great to be here and get to know you a bit. Pleasure.
Awesome. And don't forget to subscribe to Lead to Greatness if this is your first time. And this podcast was helpful to you, leave a big thumbs up. And also, I want you to check out our Marriage Coach podcast, the podcast with my wife and I. If you're on iTunes, please rate this podcast and leave a review and help get the word out. Again, thank you, Lead to Greatness Nation, for joining us on today. Looking forward to seeing you again on next week. Till then, remember, if you help others reach their greatest potential, together we can change the world. Peace. We out.